I can't believe it. My last reviews of 2022. The two newest expressions in the Stelum Black specialty blend series are Hunter's Moon Bourbon and the Lone Cypress Rye Whiskey. Like all Stelum Black blends, this is a blend of Indiana bourbon and rye, which is then layered with older bourbons and ryes from Kentucky and Tennessee. My experience with the Stelum Black lineup of bourbons and ryes, while positive, for the most part, always makes me ponder exactly where the Stelum Black releases belong in, the whiskey verse. So let's taste these and see if we can unpack that a little bit. Welcome back to the Mash and Drum. What's up, folks? I'm Jason C from the Mash and Drum, and welcome back to the show. Like, subscribe, do all the things to help grow the channel, help me hit 75,000 subscribers. Right here will be a nice little New Year gift, so really appreciate all the support. Before we dive into the review, let's hear about today's video sponsor, a distillery making some of the best whiskey coming out of Texas. It is Still Austin. Founded in 2015 by three Austin, Texas families, Still Austin Whiskey Company is a true grain-to-glass distillery. All spirits are handcrafted using grains grown by Texas farmers that have helped craft award-winning spirits that include the flagship straight bourbon whiskey named the Musician, which is right here, their cast-strength bourbon, and their newest straight rye whiskey named the Artist. Still Austin Whiskey places a high value on sustainability with a focus on cutting carbon emissions through local sourcing, increasing the biodiversity of the region through heritage grains, returning spent grains to local ranchers to feed their animals, and operating a distillery that is designed for energy efficient and water conservation. Guided by legendary master blender Nancy the Nose Fraley, Still Austin has produced musically inspired whiskeys that give a genuine expression of what Texas whiskey can be and is capable of. Every time I give these whiskeys to somebody to try, they cannot believe it is from Texas. They are that good. Want to try Still Austin Whiskey? You could purchase Still Austin Whiskey online in 20 states, including online retailers like Drizzly and Sealbox. Thanks to Still Austin for sponsoring the Mash and Drum, and hope you guys enjoy their whiskeys as much as I do. Go try some Still Austin today. All right, so here's the thing about Stellum that has me puzzled a bit. Now, when it comes to the core Stellum brands, just the regular bourbon and rye, about 50 bucks each, those make a lot of sense to me. It's an accessible bourbon and an accessible rye. They're both blends that are great values and more affordable than the regular numbered batches of barrel bourbon. Now, these Stelum Black, on the surface, utilizes older whiskey in the blends and is priced at about 100 bucks each, which is the same price point as the numbered barrel bourbon offerings. So what makes these so distinct from a barrel bourbon batch specifically when their price tags are pretty much identical? The answer that I've always gotten is that barrel bourbon batches are more experimental, where these are more high-end everyday sippers. Now, if you talk about barrel craft spirits and what they do with releases like Seagrass and Dovetail and Armida and some of those other ones that they bring out that are usually pretty amazing, I could see from an experimental standpoint, but your regular bourbon batches, just like, batch 31, 32, 33, whatever they're up to now, how did those distinguish itself so different from this, especially at the price point? I mean, you see why my brain starts hurting a little bit trying to navigate that. I don't know. I'm not sure where it falls, what people think of it, but definitely let me know down in the comments what you think about that. Where you think the Stelum Black falls when it comes to the product lineup of barrel craft spirits. Love to hear from you guys. So the two newest expressions in the Stelum Black specialty blend series are Hunter's Moon Bourbon and the Lone Cypress Rye Whiskey. Like all Stelum Black blends, as I mentioned, a blend of Indiana bourbon and rye, which is then layered with older bourbons and ryes from Kentucky and Tennessee. Now, the Stelum Black Hunter's Moon Bourbon is bottled at 115.52 proof. Price, like I said, around 100 bucks. All right, Hunter's Moon, here we go. Wow, super sweet on the nose. This is very, very fruity to me. Very fruit forward, very bright. I get like ripe red apple, and I also get a little bit of butterscotch on the nose here too, which I really like. There's some nice sweet oak on here. Definitely some candied orange. Man, one note I get on here that I don't really get much, I'm getting like cantaloupe or honeydew or one of those two melons, the green or the orange. It's like a fresh cut melon, which is very interesting to get in a whiskey. But yeah, I mean, it's very typical what you would expect from barrel craft spirits. It's extremely balanced, very rounded. let's try it. Here we go. Man, I get a lot of that candied orange peel note. I know that note comes up a lot, but I don't know, I think I'm just very sensitive to it. But I think some of that Tennessee whiskey that's in there, that's the one note I always get from Tennessee whiskey is that candied orange note. But this is also coupled with cinnamon, a lot of black pepper on the finish, very savory as well. Just the finish now is getting into more of like a medium type finish. It's not super long, but it definitely does linger. All right, let's give it another sip. So second sip, you start getting the age here. The oak definitely comes to the forefront, a little bit of char, that cinnamon clove combination. And right in the middle, there's a dark fruit note. And I wanna say it's not cherry. And then right in the middle, there's this like dark fruit note. It's not cherry, it's not even black cherry. It's more of a, I don't know if it's a blackberry or something along those lines, but there's a punch of really rich, ripe, dark fruit in there. Maybe it's like a blueberry or something. I don't know, that's crazy. It's got a nice palate to it. Again, very well balanced. It brings you from sweet to spicy to a little bit fruity, and then it just kind of, it's a beautifully balanced blend. I mean, there's no way around it. So here's the thing I think I'm starting to figure out, which is helping me kind of navigate all this. I think when they say that this is more of a everyday sipper, I think it's blended that way. It's not super punch you in the face, but it's very layered, very balanced, and it's just a damn good bourbon. But do you want to pay $100 for that, given all the stuff that's on the shelf? That's really going to be up to you. But I think when they say everyday, not as punch you in the face as the regular barrel bourbon offerings, I think this is where I'm starting to see the, you know, the line between those and this. All right, let's try the rye now. So the Stelum Black Lone Cypress Whiskey, 115.34 proof, and again, $100 for this bottle. So let's dive into this one. Now I generally really do like the Stellum ryes. Wow, this one is very savory. I'm almost getting like rosemary. I'm getting like thyme, like maybe even some basil in here. This is very savory on the nose. This is like a spice cabinet in the glass. I think it is coupled with a little bit of like, you know, cinnamon and clove as well, which is something, you know, we found in this bottle. I'm not really getting a lot of orange in here. Like I figured I would get that coming off from the, you know, being a rye. I usually get that in a rye whiskey. But I think the savoriness of this is taking over, all those herbal qualities as it has. All right, let's try it. Oh, okay. Way more orange on the palate. Orange creamsicle. God, the rye, like the rye bread note is coming through. It's almost like a flavored rye bread. It's like rye bread that's been infused with rosemary, like some orange peel. Jeez. But there is an underlying sweetness to it as well. Yeah, this is bright. There's almost like a bubblegum note to it. I'm getting a little bit. This bright bubble gumminess that I'm picking up here. You know, for rye whiskey, I think that's pretty interesting. But yeah, just like I said, I can't, like the rosemary and the herbal qualities of this are just off the charts for me, for my palate. It's the rosemary, basil. I mean, I grew up with all those flavors. You know, my grandma used to use all those in, you know, in her cooking, so it's all resonating with me. This is definitely more of an herbal forward rye. I wouldn't say I'm not gonna say there's like dill or pickle, any of that you get, and sometimes that you get in rye whiskeys. I'm not really getting any of that. It's definitely sweeter, but it's sweet and herbal, almost like a really nice cup of like herbal tea. And then the back end is just finishing with that fresh ground pepper. Yeah, and then more of that fruit characteristic on the back end too. Very good balance, but not in your face type of profile. So maybe that's the key to these Stelum Blacks. You know, it's older whiskey, it's a great blend, but they're a little bit more approachable, and I think they're a little bit less in your face than the barrel bourbon batches, and maybe that's what they go for. But do I want to pay $100 for that with everything else that's on the shelf for these? Let's go to the final breakdown. All right, final breakdown on both of these. $100 for each of these. When it comes to secondary value, I haven't seen these at all in secondary. Usually you're gonna find them for retail no matter what. So $100. Availability for these, Barrel Craft Spirits is gaining more and more market share, and you're seeing more of their bottles in a lot more states as the years go on. So I think the availability for these are pretty good. I think you could also find this online. So I'll say it's good. All right, when it comes to value, I'm just gonna say it's a little below average. And the reason why I say that is because there are whiskeys available from a bourbon and rye standpoint that are out there that gives a little bit of a cheaper price that can maybe give you something close to this. These are very unique and very delicious bottles, but you have Bardstown Bourbon Company, you have Pursuit Spirits, you have Sagamore Spirit doing blends of different distillates. So there are different blends out there, and there's probably 100 other blends I can't think of right now that is doing something similar to this. Is it on the same level as Barrel Craft Spirits? I mean, that's gonna be up to your palate. But I think to have $100 for something that's more approachable, that's what's kind of holding me from saying the value's even. That's why I'm saying it's a little bit below average. If this was maybe 75 instead of the full 100 for something that's a little bit more approachable, some older whiskey in it, I'd probably be all in. But 100, I feel like with everything else out there, warrants these to be a little below average. The most I'd pay, I wouldn't go over, $100 for either of these. And is this a recommend? Given what I just said, now they are very good. They are very good blends, but given the price point, I wouldn't say yes, but I wouldn't say no either. They're kind of fall in the middle, so that makes it, for me, a try before you buy. If you can get a pour of these and really enjoy it, go for it. But this isn't like a super yes or a super no for me. I think they're delicious enough where it will hold the attention. I love the flavors in it. I love how savory the rye is, and I like the fruit forwardness of the bourbon. But given the price point, given the value that I feel it is, I would say try before you buy. All right, guys, we hope you enjoyed this review for the new Stelum Black Labors, Hunter's Moon, and the Lone Cypress Rye. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the subscribe button below. Please hit the like button. If you haven't yet, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter. Again, thanks to all the support out there for 2022. Looking forward to a great 2023 with everyone. Happy New Year. And as I always say, it's not about the whiskey, it's the people you share it with. I'm gonna make my own little blend here because that's what we do. We blend it. And with that, share some pours with some folks around the holidays, especially any New Year's party you go to. Bring some great pours, share them with family and friends. That's what whiskey is about. Cheers, guys.